Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the menu. And I'm excited that I have the courage today. I have the energy today, and it's midday to have this podcast. I am very, very interested in this podcast personally for myself, because when this came to me, I'm a creative, but when it came to me, I've been having to really think about this because it challenged me in a way that brought me back to a little bit of my old self. I remember growing up in a Christian home and hearing the words that God ordained you, or you've been destined, you've been predestined to do something. And I'm like, there is no way, there is not a source, not an entity, not a technology that was thought about or predestined to come into existence for the greater good or to have a purpose and reasoning. Even as I'm saying that now, everything that is made was made by God in the mind of God. And anything that's made that you're seeing right now, hearing, even this microphone and this camera right now, which is blowing me away, was in the mind of someone. So it's all hit me. Let me catch y'all up. What if you were really, really preordained to be alive right now in this point in time? It brings me to the topic today, made to order. Made to order. Anything that is made right now had to be something. It had to be pre-thought of, pre-calculated, premeditated, pre-existing before it came into physical existence. What I mean by that is, did God pre-order you? Did God pre-order you? Did your creator, designer, architect pre-order you to be the man that the world needs to see and hear of right now? Were you pre-ordered to be on that job right now? Were you pre-ordered to have that wife you have and that kid you have right now? Sometimes life seems like did it just fell out of the sky and it's just so perfect? Or sometimes it feels like, man, why am I in this mess? Or how did I get here? You feel defeated, but you also sometimes feel grateful that you're alive. And how did that, like somebody just snapped and you were there? You don't understand this when you're younger, but when you get older and you start to look back and you say things like, man, where did the time go? You start to say things like that, like it was just a blinking of my eye. I believe all of us were made in the predestined mind, the pre-imaginative mind of God. And I want to help show that and prove it today, that God pre-orders you into existence. Faith on sale. There's nothing like a pre-order. I heard about Kanye during the halftime show. I didn't see it, that he had a commercial that came out that had all of his new products, all of his new merch online, I believe for the same price. What I find very, very unique about pre-ordering, and even in Kanye's instance, is he did a flash sale at the lowest, cheapest rate you can find, and maybe unbelievable for a lot of people, but it helped give him and his team indicators on what people like the most, on what they should probably focus on or target the most. The ability to pre-order something is the ability to order something without it ever being made. Just the idea. Do you know that one of the highest online marketing things you can do as an agency, as a business, is to create a flash order sale that goes into a pre-order, so you know how many people would want your product. The ability to pre-order something or predestine something before it's even made is the ability to indicate what the world may need or what they may want in a certain time. Crazy, right? Super, super fascinating. Like when I heard him do that, like this is kind of where this message sparked for me. Is, God, did you really predestine? Did you really pre-order me into this time? My wife used to say when we met, babe, God made us just together, and he knew that we were going to be born in these places. Like, she's all giddy about why God like made us to be together. And the older I get, the more I believe it. The more I believe it. So the major question to yourself is, and I feel that a lot of men, where we don't find purpose, where we don't find reasonings for life, is we don't know why we were made. I don't know why I was here. Because for some of our lives, the way it has gone and what happened to us and where we are now, we hope that we wasn't born. We hope, man, why did somebody order me? Why did somebody call me to do this? Well, I wish my parents would have just went to church that night. I wish my parents would have just never met. I wish some people have that experience, those regrets, and some people take matters into their own hands because they don't feel the purpose, order, or reasoning for their lives to even be here. But I want to help us all today. Anybody who's going to hear this video, you are pre-order for a time as this. Never mistake why you're even listening to this. Just look at your phone for a second, because most of us are going to be viewing this from a phone. That before you had it in your hand, and we all have the remnants, we all have the ability, we all have the DNA in us from our original designer to create. So I want you to understand this. The phone you carry in your hand, the earbuds that you're listening to, someone thought of it in their consciousness first, in their mind, in their logos first, and made a way to materialize it, visualize, and then materialized it to where you can operate and hear me today. Crazy, right? Why is that so much hard for you to believe that maybe God did the same thing with you? Ed, Mike, Vince, Antoine, he would be dope for this. The way he's going to come through the world is going to be a little ratchet. It's going to be a little bit unexplainable, but in just time, it'll be undeniable. What a pre-order does, I love this. I wrote this down. A pre-order lets the world get a chance to access a promise for something or someone, concert, show, comedy, in the future for a later guarantee. What is it like for something to not even be happening yet or to fully be on the books, but you have access to it just in case it does happen? That's just so dope to me. I think about that in my own life. God, what have you set aside for me? What have you designed me for? What am I supposed to get to in life that may be of value and of service for someone else? Other thing I wrote down is, has God demanded something from you in this time? If you're pre-order, if you believe that you're pre-ordering usually comes at a better deal. If you are willing to wait, there are perks to your order and getting your order. If you buy it right now, if you pre-order right now, you get it at this sale. This is the sale price. Matter of fact, you don't get it cheap. That's what Kanye did. He somehow miraculously, it's kind of smart. Some people say, Kanye's a genius. We'll talk about that later. Every man's a genius. Let me put it to you like that. You were made from a genius and infinite intelligence, way better than artificial intelligence. We're so better than artificial intelligence that we created artificial intelligence. If you actually hear what I'm saying right there. When you are pre-order, it's usually a package deal. There's usually something special about it that if you were able to make it happen right now, or God created you to be in the earth right now, that there's a promise, that there's a value, that there is something for you or that other person that can be healed or experienced. Now, just imagine if Thomas Edison and Lewis Latimer, let me put that in there. Let me put both of them jokers in there, were born a couple years ago. You wouldn't even be looking at me right now. I believe Edison had a lot to do with even videography, not only just lighting, but all 10,000 other different inventions. Just imagine that, how God pre-ordered such a person or persons to come together to create the filament and the light and the LED for us to be able to see and be able to work and feed our families and just walk through the night. How crazy intentionality is that for us to believe or not believe that we were pre-ordered? When I realized that God there was a time in my life when I didn't believe in this whole ordained, predestined, pre-order thing. There was a moment where that shook for me. When I was 30, a friend of mine, cousin of mine actually, play cousin we call it, invited me to lunch and invited me to an unbelievable experience I will never forget. It literally changed the trajectory of my life. Went to meet my cousin at Chili's after church, and he's like, man, I got to talk to you. I was like, okay. Yeah, man, let's go hang out, bring the family. I think I had my son maybe with me, or I think he just had his families with him. And he was like, sat down at the table. And he was like, look, man, I've been meaning to tell you this. I'm gonna share this story a lot because it impacted me, and hopefully it'll impact you in ways that you couldn't imagine. But he sat down and he told me, "Hey, man, I meant to tell you this. I've been kind of holding back, hesitant because of maybe whatever was going on in his life, but he started to see something very unique in my life. And what I mean in this moment, literally, I wouldn't be doing this today if it probably wasn't for that conversation." He leans over to me and he says, there's a reason why God didn't let your father you. And I hope my dad hears this. I don't have a good relationship with my father, but I do talk to him from time to time. And I believe it could be a healthy relationship one day if time lets us have that. As soon as he said that line, as soon as he said, God wouldn't let your father you, there's a reason why God didn't let your father you. And immediately after he said it, I broke like the Hoover Dam. Because all my life, I've kind of been a wolf raised by a pack of wolves, meaning I had strategic men in my life mentor me and show me and talk to me and walk with me through a lot of different things. And I remember growing up feeling, even though I didn't have a present father, I remember feeling like I did have a father. I've never felt fatherless. And this next line he says, there's a reason why God didn't let your father you, and it's because God wanted to father you. And for about 5 to 10 minutes, I ugly cried. Because all of those memories of all of those men, of all of those moments, of all of those learning experiences, all those favorite experiences that I have to know some really great men in music and in business and in family and how to treat a woman, going fishing, starting a church, starting a business, like crazy. It all came rushing back in an instant. I've never had that experience. And that was the moment I believed God was real. I was 30, been in church majority of my life. That was the moment I believed, oh, you're real. You're real. And you had me in your thoughts before I would have ever known that I was even in your thoughts. See, these phones, they'll never know where they came from. They'll never know who their designer is or their master is, but we get the ability, come on, somebody, we get the ability to have the awareness and consciousness of where we came from. We can look around. I can look and say, oh, that's a tree. I can look around and say, oh, I'm a man. Like, oh, I make babies. Oh, I have a wife. Oh, that's a woman. Like, I have the ability to perceive my awareness of what things are. That's why God created us in his image and in his likeness. That's why we can create. That's why we are uniquely very, very powerful in what we do. When that conversation happened to me on that Sunday, I was so impacted. And I started to think about, why would God cut me out of the equation to say, enough is enough in your family? There's no more abuse. There's no more fatherless transactions in your bloodline. It stops with you. You feel that? Have you ever felt that? Like, man, I'm doing something no one in my family has ever done. Maybe you've been pre-ordered an upgrade to say it stops with you. The abuse, the lack of money, the poverty, the fatherlessness, the love, it stops with you. And you're in abundance of all of it. God has placed and poured in all of that. You're built with the apps already in mind. And I truly, truly believe that. I want to let all the men out there know that you're the store demo. You're the one that God puts on display as the model. Hopefully you get this. You're the person that God preordained to be on display as the model. Now, there's some perks to the model. You're going to be tested a lot. You're going to be messed with a lot because you're the model. That's why it's hard for you. I have friends and cousins who've been through hell. And I mean play cousins. And my boys, matter of fact, I'm going to call their names. Emmanuel, Marcus, my brother Dominique. There's a reason why God put us on display. While we've been through some really, really, really heavy, dark things in our lives. It's because we're supposed to model, be the prototype of and for the next generation, so that God's creation can continue to create without hesitation, without mess ups, and sometimes we feel that. It's hard to accept that. It's like, why would God put me on display? Out of all the other things that could have went up, we're in a story like this, posted up. But who are we? What are we? By the time others get to us, how will we be able to represent the manufacturer and what God created, what he pre-ordered into place? That's what a demo is. You get to test out a demo, a pre-order, play with a pre-order before you go and order. Yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for. There's men, there's children in your life. There's a wife in your life. There's people looking at your life, checking you out like the demo in the store, pressing buttons. And you're always trying to figure out, like, God, why am I always being tested? Or why am I going through this? Why is everybody coming to me in the family? Why does all the kids, or why does all my friends in my circle group, why do they gravitate towards me? Why do I have this voice? Why do I think like this? That's huge, isn't it? There's a reason for that. You're supposed to be a mirror, an offspring of the prototype of God. That's why he pre-ordered us into this existence. Don't make that mistake. I believe God ordering you to be on display, be the demo model, so that other men can see what it's like to be a father, what it's like to be a husband, a loving, genuine husband who's there for his wife, who cares for his wife through thick and thin, to be there for his kids, to model what it's like to be a manly man. I mean, I'm not talking about this new crap. I'm going to be 100. I'm not talking about the sissy stuff. I'm not talking about this boy meets girl. And not the Topanga version. I'm talking about where boy becomes a girl thing. It's the new thing. Somebody's got to say it though, right? There's a pre-order for me. There's a pre-order for all you men who are just watching back, just letting the world happen and ride, and you're convicted to say and do certain things. We need to be where the boys become man. Remember the group, Boys to Man? That's what we need more of. We don't need boy meets girl. Even though I have the biggest crush on Topanga, she is still fine. I'm just going to say that. But we're in a position where there's no more Boys to Man. There's boy meets girl. That's a whole different conversation. But that's the reason why you're pre-ordered. That's the reason why God modeled you. That's the reason why you're the demo, to say, that's what it's supposed to look like. And if I get something different than that, than what I order, I know because I seen that in the store. I seen the model. I seen the prototype. I know how that's supposed to work. Come on, y'all got to hear me. Y'all see the same thing I see. Y'all feel the same thing I feel, but you don't know how to attack that because you don't have the confidence. You don't know who you are. You don't know who you were made and how you were made and what you were born to attack, to fix, to create a solution for that can completely wipe out the next models. Imagine when you do go see a demo in a store, and I'm using demo as a hypothetical, as a figurative thing. But when you go see a demo, like you at Best Buy somewhere, and nobody's endorsed this podcast, probably won't ever, which is totally fine. But you go and see a model, and it's jankily, and the cable's broke, and the camera's coming out of the, like, you be like, oh, I ain't never buying that phone. If it's like that here, then it's going to be like that in my space. You're not buying that. So this is the reason why the Manual Podcast exists. This is the reason why I'm on here trying to give you the insight, be creative enough for you to see, wow, I'm special. I'm uniquely made. I am born in this time and in this season and in this existence for a real reason. God, what is it that you want me to do? And let him show you. Let him let you listen to things like this. More men need to be placed in positions where they can thrive and be in purpose to remain in purpose for a purpose. You need to remember that. Like, you're not here just going to work every day. There's something around you that you're supposed to give into, that you're supposed to help, that you're supposed to invest into, that makes the world a better place as it's going in any kind of way, because there's no model. There's just no model. It's just a bunch of open box refurbished products out here. Let me keep it 100. It's a bunch of open box refurbished product of man that's been abused and put back on the shelf, or abused and ejected and rejected. Ejected. Y'all know what I'm saying. Why God creates things in order for man? Why does our army have in order? Why does every system, every company, every business has in order? We call it a system and a process, because there needs to be an order to the design. Everything about you is order. Naturally, everything about you is order. So much so that nobody had to physically keep reshaping your bones. Your bones grew. Normally, humans' bones, everybody doesn't have that luxury, but still, their brain has been developed, their heart, their lungs, their organs, everything is made to order. It's made in God's order so that when he ordains you, come on, you are in the position that you need to be. So just imagine that. Before God created man, he created the place for him to live. Before God could create me and you, he had to create the world. That's order. Like, okay, before, if I ever wanted to have a hotel, you know what? Let me make sure it has this, 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 and this, and this. Now we can sell the room. Now we can have people come in. That's how God created all of us. Just go and read the beginning of Genesis. That's just, you see the time and order. You see how men are supposed to order our lives. Before he created the animals and constructed the land, before the mountains, before the oceans, he had to see what he was doing. So you're made to order because God wants to set in order. Let me say that again. You're made to pre-order, so that God can set in order. It's crazy how even when I got married and I started to have kids, even in my home, I had this natural inclination to set an order in my house, because I believe I'm convicted, I'm called, I'm valued, I'm favored by God to do a certain thing here in this earth by creating and revealing value in people and creating world-changing products and services. That for me first, instead of out there, I had to get myself in order. I had to start getting fit with my mind and my body. Start with here, then to the body. Here first, it's an order. That's why the brain's up for here first. And then everything else is down here. This is the order. This is the head. So if you're the head of your house, man, come on. I'm about to go for y'all. If you are the head of your house, whether you have a family, a wife, or a dog, it doesn't matter. You're the head first of your home. You're the leader of that home. And that's why God made us to order, because he wanted us to be in order, to set in order, so that things can keep moving, being creative, being fruitful, and that we can see God very, very evident in our world. How many of us have an out of order home where our kids are going crazy? The home is always dirty. We don't know what's happening from there and there. We go to work, we come back, go to sleep, watch a game, and the house is just a mess. Our wives are just out of order. Kids, out of order. There's nothing you can do outside of you to get in order until you get yourself in order. And it starts with your mind, your body, your will. And then everything else will submit to that. Your wife will start to come up underneath submission. Those kids will start to listen to you. When they see daddy in order, oh, daddy don't play games. Daddy set these rules and these boundaries for us. They know what's about to crack, but it's even done in love and in conviction too at the same time. God has ordered men to do so many things: to create, multiply, to subdue, to set law, to manage. We'll talk about that even more. And there's plenty of podcasts to talk about men managing time. That's management. It's men managing time. It's all it is. Men managing assets. Whatever you have, you are made to order, to manage what God has given in this earth. From the sea to the fields, it doesn't matter, especially to their wife and kids. You're made to order that. Other thing you want to think about is, what has God ordered all men to be? God ordered us to be in his image and his likeness. God ordered us to protect and keep our word and his word. God also calls us to be righteous. A righteous man's steps are ordered. Y'all need to go read your Bible, but I'm gonna help you. A righteous man's steps are ordered. That means God has called us to be righteous. He called us also to love our wives as God loves the church and people of the church. God has called man to love our wives. God's gonna love the church. Cool. But I need you to love your wife first. Don't go to church. Don't go to that corporation. Don't go to that job. Don't go to your computer if you're not passionately, intentionally loving your wife first. God is also ordering us to be fruitful and to multiply. That was one of the first orders he gave us. Hey, look, I need you to go be fruitful, multiply, subdue the whole entire earth with my presence and with my creation and with my product. Go. Leave me. God ordered us to be fruitful. And that's why you see all these billions of people today. That's a natural order that God set in all of us. God also ordered us to serve, not to be served, because the greatest comes. God also ordered us to serve men. The greatest among you, Jesus said, will be the least of you. He will be a servant. Jesus says this all the time. He's like, I didn't come to be served. I didn't come for you to wash my feet. I didn't come for you to write songs about me. I didn't come for you to praise or worship me. I came to let you know about the one who sent me. And some of us, matter of fact, all of us Christians need to understand that very, very principle that Jesus was never made to be worshiped or a deity. He was not. He only came to do and prove one thing: the kingdom and the one who sent him. And he told us, I didn't come to be served. I came to serve you. I came to serve you these papers about the one who sent me and what I'm here to do. I'm here to show you that and here to remind you of this kingdom and the love that God has not only shared upon all mankind, but what you should give to others. That's why he also ordered us, love yourself as you love your neighbors, because I created you and them. I need y'all to get that together. That's an order, actually. Remember that. Remember those things. That's for all of us religious heads, Bible heads, spiritual heads, but also just general men, that there's an order that God has said that has a sweet spot to us. It's an order that God has said that has a sweet spot to it, that we'll be able to see life in a very abundant and fruitful way. I want you to remember this. You are made fresh in the mind of God. I believe not only before you existed, but daily. What is Antoine doing today? How's he ordering his time to prove who I sent, what I commanded, what all I have in the world to do? There's some men, you don't got to be spiritual at all. There's some men who are doing exactly what God called them to do. There are doctors, there are inventors, there are lawyers, there are construction workers who are building things. There's architects who are designing things, because that's how God ordered them. They're doing exactly that. Don't forget to order your mentality. Don't forget to order your emotions and your spiritual walk with God on a daily basis. God made all those things to order. Matter of fact, let me get the burger and then go ahead and put some pickles on there. I need you to supersize the fries. Man, I'm getting real hungry. And just make that a small icy. All those things are made to order. They're made fresh on the mind of God. You are made fresh on the mind of God daily. You need to remember this. And I struggle with this. Like, God, you really want me to do this? Even the idea that we're launching with our startup company, we're in the ed tech industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar company we're building. I struggle with, God, did you order me to do this? Or am I making all this up? I could be doing a bunch of other things. I could be living a more comfortable life. My wife could be in her house. She can have her garage. My kids can have their backyard. Why have you ordered me to delay all of my gratifications on things I want and I know I can have almost immediately? I can go work anywhere in the country. I built up enough credibility and work and all those things to literally work in Florida, right, where the sun is always the same. But God ordered me to be in Nashville to build for a time such as this. And I know it to be true because I've seen the favor and I've seen the order and the placement of God, what God sent to me when I was able to stay in order. I want you to remember that there's a sweet spot for you being where you're at. You are handmade and crafted in the sight and in the mind of the original designer. Look at you. Just look at your hands, man. Look at your hands, bro. You are ordered to have 5 fingers. I hope all y'all got 5 fingers. You're ordered to have that $1 billion, $1 trillion brain of yours. You're ordered to be that height. You're ordered to be that skin color and be responsible for that skin color. Don't judge off that skin color because you're going to meet a bunch of other men who don't look like that. They're ordered to be who God has created them to be, to make them represent or to be in a place to where they can represent and mirror who God is and what God does and how God does what he does. We're made to mirror that. Never forget that. Everything that is made to order comes from the original of something. How many companies and businesses you see on the side? Oh, we're the original XYZ since 1968. We're the original. What they're saying is when you see these companies that we were the original, this is you're seeing companies that created an order that became popular and valuable among the people. That's all you're saying. Man, yeah, the way that they do their Philly cheesesteaks, and I've seen this in Philly, man, it's just the way they get it made to order. And it was an order that they set between chopping up the beef, putting it on the sandwich. Man, I'm hungry. It's noon. That's what's happening. I'm tripping. That's what's happening. But God ordered you to be the original of you because there's only going to be one you. There's only one order of you. There's only one order of you. This line does not produce another you. You need to remember that. I want to highlight this for a very specific reason because some of us, man, don't believe what I'm saying. There's no way this thing out here, order for me to be here at this time, to be listening to you at this time, for me to scroll. I am not pre-order. Well, if you're not pre-ordered and you're not made to order, which I believe you are, but if you don't believe, let me say it like this. If you don't believe you're pre-ordered, if you don't think that God has made you to order and you're made to order, well then, my friend, you're back ordered. Oh, that hit you. Do you know what it's like to order something? Not just that it's a pre-order, because you know it's going to come in 2 to 3 weeks. There's kind of a guarantee and a promise or your money back. But when something's back ordered, usually means you order something, you paid for it, and you don't know when you're going to get it. Why is some of us men, knowing that we have an order for our life, we have a purpose for our life, we have a reason for our life, but you're still holding and sitting back on a thing that God has created and planted in you. And now you're back ordered. You're on a shelf. That thought, that gift, that passion is back ordered. Even though God has pre-ordered you, ordained you, you're made to order and made to bring things into order, because a righteous man steps are order, a man who is right standing and trying to do the right thing. Yeah, you're back ordered because you won't do any of those things. You've given up on all. You've been defeated. You've been talked out of producing the order that God has given you. You've been talked out of getting up and going starting that business, getting up, healing your marriage, getting up, working on your body, getting up, apologizing first. And some of us, man, we're back order. We become back order when we start to lose our identity of who we are. That's what usually starts that. When you start working and about that 5th year and you feel like everything's the same, you start to lose a value for why you doing any of this. But I'm here to tell you today that you are not back ordered. You are already ready up to go, but you need to make the conscious decision on saying, I'm gonna make this happen, or I'm gonna become this person. You know what? They've been saying that to me, and this video is just confirming a lot for me right now. That's what's happening. I want to help take us from being back ordered to being pre-ordered and destined by God to being made to order for a time such as this. I need you men to know that before God ever formed you, before you physically came into existence, kind of like a phone, we all have these. You were in the mind of something, someone, a designer, an architect. This is not, this phone was made to do a couple main things: call and text. It was pre-ordered to do that. It was pre-ordered to do that. What are you made to do? What did God pre-order, predestined you to do? I want to help you with this. How do men get back in order? You do what is right, and whatever it is right unto God, not man, is the divine order. There is a divine order. Is God, what do you want me to do? You created me. I know I came from Mary and or Betty and Bob and Tevin, like, but what have you called me? Why am I a product? Why am I planted in this world? God, what is the order that you have set for me? Ask the question. I believe God will start to send that to you with messages like this, or with men, other men around you. Usually if there's a passion, a burden, or if there's a man or person that can inspire you to become the thing, that you'll start to order into the thing. You ever sit down at a restaurant and you're looking through a menu of what you should order, but you kind of glance over and, oh shoot, what they having? That's fine. Hey, what did they order? Sometimes you may need to see other men, to see someone else in order, to spark your discipline or your passion or your belief or your hope or your faith to get in order. I've ordered like that all the time. Like, hey, yeah, let me get, because that looked way better than the picture. It looks way better than my life or what I have right now. It looks way better than my thoughts that I was thinking right now. And that's what the manual was designed to do, is to help get you back in order, to help you decide out what type of man you want to become. That's how you become back in order with how God designed you and how he pre-ordered you and made you to order. Purposeful, not cultural. Submitted, not omitted to culture. We're not going to let culture dictate the order and how you were made to order to God. Like, so many confusing things. And that's the thing, is you have all these other things and people and entertainment out of order, completely out of order, in chaos. Anything that's not of order is chaos. It's confusion, giving you a false sense of order, giving us I'm telling you what I know. I'm crossing that line. I'm crossing that line today. There's so many sense of false order because it's feeling first. It's not order first. It's not design first. God made you to order, not the culture. God pre-ordered you and predestined you, not the culture. God created all them too, created all of us too. And we've all waved and dipped a chip twice and all these different things. But there's a specific way how God made you. There's a specific way how God made and ordered you. And no matter what happened to you when you were young, no matter what they said, no matter what you sing, because you sing something that reordered your mind, and no person, you didn't have an adult or a man to like, hey, so I seen, or hey, what does this mean? Nobody helped you put that back into order, and you ran with it. And now your life is in confusion. You built your life and decisions based off of things that were out of order because you were too young to see it. The Bible even says this: there's things that I did when I was young that I no longer do now that I'm older. There's some ways that we still think and believe and are abused from and were forced into as a young, that we still are bound in confusion and chaos today. I want to help release men from that. Nobody's going to say that to you else on these podcasts. I'm going to say it. But that is how you know you're back order or out of order. Hopefully this is good. Hopefully this is good for y'all. But for some of us, you want to understand this message. For some of us, you're going to be like, you know what? Evolution did its thing. The Big Bang did its thing. Stars did its thing. Our scientists who were made to order from God said this, and I believe them. Okay, that's fine. Let me just tell you this. You were made to order. Look at you. Look at me. Hear me. You were made to order. You feel out of place. You feel like you don't belong. You're so smart that you became dumb and numb to what really is and what really does love you and what really did create you. I'm going to say it because I've been there. There's no more of that. The more order you get, the more defined and refined you get, you'll start to really understand the purpose of order, that nothing just came to be. And we can kind of see that in a lot of, even in our solar system, when you see these Milky Ways and some of these comets and stuff, but it's not a flourishing planet. Maybe it's doing something unique, but it looks like something fell out of order, beautifully out of order. It's still beautiful, still cool, but there's something even more specific about you and what you were created to do. And I want to challenge you. I want to help. I want to challenge you. I want to help unlock what has been misplaced or out of order in your life to bring back some order in your life as you're staying in tune with the manual, that you're able to see how you're designed, why you're designed, and you're able to figure out the type of man you want to become. You're able to figure out the type of man you want to become and how God designed you into order, because he made you to order. He pre-ordered you because he knew why we would need you. He knew why we would need to see you, see what you do to prove who he is. That's so genius and so simple, and it's so small and so genius and so simple. Our minds just take it and no, but it's got to be no. What if it really is that simple? I believe it is. And so, look, I want you guys to go out and figure out, how am I order? Why am I here? There's a reason. And like every superhero, they have to figure out, who am I? What am I to do? Why am I doing this? You have to figure that out. And I believe you can. Thank you guys for just listening to me today, man. I felt that in many ways this week, and even in my life of getting ordered and things I have to do and the things I have to plan and manage. Like if I have a purpose and a reasoning, there needs to be a definitive way of life and lifestyle that I need to lead to make that into an existence, so I can prove the one who sent me. And just to be grateful, just to be honorable, I think all of us deserve that too. Look, you guys go out this week and figure out where you're out of order, maybe out of shape, maybe out of sight, you may be out of mind. But you need to know that you're made to order. I don't want you back order this week. I don't want you sitting on the shelf. I don't want to hear that you're doing the same thing you did last week or the year before. That means you're back order. God has made you pre-order. Like you're about to make something happen. You're about to do it next week. You're about to do it. You're starting tomorrow. Remember that. And just remember that you ran into the manual. You are in a place where you're getting ready to find out the type of man you want to become by the man God has ordained you to be. You guys stay tuned. Thank you guys for listening in. Hopefully that this is fruitful. Hopefully that this challenges you, but hopefully it builds and helps you discover a new you. Guys, take care.